Well, welcome to the episode number 80 of According to Flint. And of course, episode 80 is the live in studio episode.
Oh, it's the pinnacle. Everybody celebrates their 80th.
And everybody celebrates the 80th
one,
anniversary, the birthday. In studio with me, fellow colleague, fellow rodeo clown, rodeo entertainer, barrelman, NFR barrelman, JJ Harrison from the Great Northwest.
Great Northwest.
I do got to tell you, and I told you this before we started, I prep for these. Yeah. I mean, Logan's over here is kind of my witness that I think people think we just turn cameras on, but I have a pattern of interviews with people when we're at a distance. Knowing you as long as we've known each other, you can see
you have nothing.
What I have.
You have nothing.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
There's been a few of those. My brother Will, you, and a few others.
That's better.
I think with us, it's.
Let me tell you why.
I wonder if we'll have anything to talk about.
Let me tell you why I hate it. First off the bat.
Why hate me?
No.
Or what? Oh, okay.
I don't hate you. Well, I do hate you, but that's for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
I have followed you in your career, and you paved a golden road for guys like me. A golden road. I said it. Okay. I threw up a little in my mouth to say it, but
I know. Yeah,
Flint, you did, and you paved this road, and I didn't want a golden road. I didn't want to be the guy that my whole career is. Hey, did Flint train you?
Oh my gosh,
you're a lot like Flint. You're so much like Flint, and especially in the beginning. Right. In the beginning of your career, it doesn't matter because you're the new name. And whatever you're doing is new. And so every rodeo producer, everybody out there is like, oh, this new guy's pretty good.
The new, and I want you to keep going on this, but it's especially in the last 10 years, if a new rodeo clown comes around,
he's the guy.
Oh, let's take a look. And that's a good thing.
It is. Yeah, it is. But the thing that was always, did Flint train you, or he's trying to be like Flint? If they want to go negative, they'll do that to me.
Yeah.
And then this is what was great, and why these people are such boneheads is they would say, "Oh, Flint was great. He was so off the cuff and spontaneous." And yeah, you're trying to be just like him. Okay, well, define spontaneous, you moron.
Yeah.
Like, literally, how do you follow what's spontaneous? There's no direction it's going. There's no papers here. There's no things that we're going to line out. So how am I doing? I was a school teacher. We had similar paths.
We did have similar paths.
But it was one of those things that drove me nuts for about the first 5 to 7 years. And then I saw you in Libby, Montana. Do you remember this? You ran into my sister.
I was with my girls.
Yep.
And you were working the rodeo. I was
working the rodeo, and you had gone to Montana Equine. And my sister is a vet, and she was interning there. And you guys had brought a barrel horse there.
That's right.
And it came out that she was my sister. And you told her, oh, we love JJ. Hmm? And then she, of course, called me immediately. Hey, do you know Flint loves you? And I thought, in what way? Because
you're mildly attractive.
And then when I saw you, I was like, hey, you met my sister. It was finally my first thing I could say to you that wasn't, dude, I'm so tired of people comparing me to you. I had something else to talk about.
It is funny. Somebody the other day said, well, hey, we saw JJ. He does some things like you. It was a nice comment. Listen,
it's a huge compliment. It's a huge compliment.
There's such a contradiction of what people say. Yeah. I've been through it in the PBR when other guys will come in and they'll say, he's not you. He doesn't do anything like you. When I was out, when I had a heart attack 14 years ago.
Yeah.
They had
Thanks
some
for
good.
Not dying. Thanks for not dying.
Yeah, I know. They had some good guys come in. Well, what they do is our boss at the time would say, here's the whatever Wrangler promotion. This is how Flint does it. Do that. I'm like, don't you understand? I put my twist on that.
Yeah.
So they'd say, nah, he's just not you. And then somebody that's similar to me, he's trying to be you. So, hey, everybody.
Can't win.
Everybody does their own thing.
That's right. Can't win.
You have had the same style since you started. Now, when I watch you, we appreciate similar things in our lives.
Yes.
We have college degrees. We're former educators. We're former athletes. We have football references. We have some music references. because that's who we are.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there are similarities. Guess what? There's quarterbacks that play similar. There's basketball players.
Well, and
So-
if you're going to emulate someone, I mean, right? Like that's the other part is the golden road. The golden road that you put down. And I'm saying that as a compliment, yet it drives me crazy. Because I know you don't care. You're not looking behind you. You're not a guy that puts a golden road down and sits there and admires the road. You're
Right.
the guy that pushes to the next thing. You're done in the arena at the PBR. What are we doing now? We're creating the next empire of Flint Rasmussen. And that's what I admire about you is that we're driving forward always. Where, you're diving more into your girls' careers. I love that. I'm a huge advocate of that.
Yeah.
And my
Thanks for
family.
coming, everybody. We appreciate. I was going to end it
Anyway,
right there.
checkmate.
But
you know what I mean? You're not looking behind you. Like, what did I do for all these guys that were coming behind me? And
Yeah. I do think people have a compliment and best interest in mind. It just, well, he sure doesn't do it like you, or he's trying to be you. Nobody's trying to be anyone else.
And people in today, I feel like, and I don't mean to monopolize the conversation, but I feel like,
Well, it is. You are my guest.
Okay.
So yeah, you're good.
I feel like people want to come with negativity. They want to give a compliment, but it has to be from a negative way. Like these guys, and I get it too. Believe me, the next guys that are following me or that are behind me or that try to do anything or the fat suit, for crying out loud. If anybody else gets in a fat suit, I get messages about he's copying you.
Hey, will this make you feel better? People I know quite well have sent me the video out there of you dancing in fat suit saying, "Is this you?"
Yeah.
So we all look the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not me. It's JJ.
No,
it's not me. Thank you though. Yeah. Hey, we've been dating a year. Is this you? That didn't happen.
No,
but
no. By the way, you owe me some child support.
Yeah.
No, it's I think that happens a lot, but I really appreciate where we're going, and I just wish people would take it from a positive angle that, hey, have you seen this kid? There's a kid in the Northwest going real hard right now, and I feel like if I can help him, great.
Yeah, well, let's talk. We'll talk about that off camera. I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids, and I've always been a lift people up, get more bees with honey guy. But I've been torn down, and a couple of these clowns that I've worked with that have kind of been colleagues. It's funny because and there's one that I will name because he's open about it, but they're so damn mean to me and hate it. And I was like this little offshoot kid because I for whatever reason, maybe there's valid reasons.
It almost feels like a little, if you want to put a positive twist, a little of an initiation. We'll see how this kid is.
Yeah,
and if he makes it through it, do you know what I mean? Because hey, the first year I got nominated for things.
Yeah.
Clown of the Year and Coors Man in the Can would have been 1997.
Right.
You were 8.
I was not.
And
I was in college.
And so they had the reception before the awards banquet, which has a different look now. But back then it was a sponsored reception. And I walk into the room and here's Liesl Harris, Butch Lemcooler, who's a very much someone I looked up to in my career. Liesl Harris, Butch Lemcooler, Ted Kimsey, Rudy Burns. I think Quayle was still alive. I don't know if he was there. Barry Boom Boom Johnson, Rooster Kirsten, the solid classic,
the core
rodeo clowns.
Yeah.
I remember Katie and I, my wife, we stood in the corner and had drinks, and they didn't go, "Come here, little fella,"
buddy,
but they weren't dicks. It was just,
you're not there yet.
You're not there yet. Yeah.
The
It's an interesting, and I think you could probably name any entertainment business from music to theater to, and it's probably the same.
Yeah.
But we live in a world of, I don't like the word imitation, but a little bit. Everybody has somebody they look up to. Every singer, I'll never forget the first Easton Corbin song I ever heard, who we kind of know used to sound just like George Strait.
Yeah.
He still sounds, but he's developed his own. How else do we establish what our style is without watching another style and bringing it in and mixing it all up? So it's frustrating.
Right.
But that's the way it goes.
Everybody loves their generation too. I love the new swing is 90s country. I'm a 90s country. Yeah, but do you remember how much the 80s country hated the 90s country?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, that's not real country music. Garth Brooks jump around,
come
swinging
on.
rope. That's
smashing a guitar.
That's not country.
Son of a bitch.
That's not country. If he's not out there, you know, with a hayseed in his mouth, singing about his wife running off, and you know, and so 90s country was hated. I remember because I liked it, and my grandpa thought I was an idiot because it wasn't George Jones, Merle, Johnny Cash. You know,
it's funny. A lot of my friends, and we'll sit around and I've started to confess it. They'll be like, "Man, play some." Yeah, our friend Richard Jones, Dwight Yoakam. He loves Dwight Yoakam, and he'll hit a Dwight Yoakam song. And I finally told him, I gotta tell you, Richard, and I'm sure he's a good guy. I just don't listen to any Dwight. And I'm not a classic country guy. I mean, I like it, but it's not my thing. Yeah. You give me some Steve Wariner.
Yeah, Steve
Wariner, and there was a few in there that
I still have Tupac in my truck.
They got his killer, man.
It's P. Diddy, man. It's P. Diddy.
So,
you heard it here.
I said to somebody,
he did it.
I said to somebody the other day,
I'm not a professional law enforcement, but he did it.
You know, they arrested a guy for Tupac's murder,
and he coughed up.
I was telling somebody they arrested a guy. No way. I said, yeah, a 60-year-old guy. And somebody said, a 60-year-old guy killed Tupac? I said, no, a 30-year-old guy killed Tupac.
Rodeo tickets.
A 30-year-old guy did, but he's 60 now. Anyway, we joked about that. But, but I should say, we can talk about more about philosophies and what we set out to do. Because I think I know in my life, I always had a direction. But you're in town. By the way, in town, in studio, as we record this, we snatched you up while you're in town in Billings for the big NILE rodeo, which has traditionally always been in October. It used to be one of the last rodeos of the year.
I think I worked it. And
then it switched, so it's the first. I think it's hurt it. I think the traditional October rodeos really had a groove, and I'm not saying the PRCA was wrong for changing it to the last day of September or whatever is the end of the regular season.
But you're not.
But these rodeos in October, it's hurt them as far as there was a lot of great cowboys come to these rodeos trying to make the NFR.
Trying to push. And now you still see that, but you see it at the San Bernardinos where guys are sitting there. Tough Cooper, great example.
Oh, yeah.
That guy, I mean, and I'm a Tough Cooper fan. A lot of people want to hate on him, but I just love that guy. I love his family. I love that whole group. And maybe a lot of that's the years with the MGM and Strand Smith is still one of my heroes.
Me too.
Like
Strand's the best.
Guy is just solid as they get. And, you know, I always wanted to be like Strand. So that's the guy I look up to. But it was great to see Tough come in, win San Bernardino, win enough money to go from 17 to 15, made the NFR.
Yeah.
In one weekend there. And it was cool. It was
cool.
But it could have that could have happened at the NILE.
Yeah. For one, it was cool to see Tough Cooper have to be in that situation and see what a winner like that does. Yeah. And he showed that. Yep. But yeah, it used to be, I remember working the NILE here for a few years. It wasn't, how many times have you done this rodeo?
This is my 13th time.
Yeah. See that? I did it a few times. But I'll tell you the difference was here in Montana, I spent a lot of years before I even tried to get into the PRCA doing NRA rodeos around Montana. Yeah. So pro rodeos like Billings didn't necessarily, they're like, well, he's been doing,
he's an amateur guy.
I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They were probably right.
I lived it. I lived the exact same thing. I did the NPRA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Huge, big organization.
But see, I'm more of there's guys that can come into this that are historical rodeo guys. And Rump is that way. And I love Justin to death, but man, he got here's the keys to the store in a lot of ways because he has a history and everybody knows him in rodeo.
Family,
so he doesn't have to go through that. I'm more of a minor league baseball player for a while, trying to hone my skill to get up to where I can make it to the pro level. And that's what the NPRA gave me was that.
See, our stories are kind of the same there too.
Yeah.
My dad, rodeo announcer, but he was in the NRA here in Montana.
Yeah.
And Will was the same way. And I just never had goals. One of the nice guys. Yeah.
I love you, Will.
But I didn't have plans. I didn't have aspirations to do this for a living.
You're a teacher.
I just was doing it for fun.
Right.
Summer jobs.
Side
So
money.
5-6 years in the NRA, and then people were going, you're getting pretty good at this. Same thing.
Yeah.
So as far as the pro rodeo world, same. I didn't have any juice.
Yeah.
We had to be good. Hey,
And you had
and by the
different
way,
style, too.
Justin Rumford is good. We're not implying.
No.
Yeah, we're
No, not in any way.
But
He deserves
the
all
Rumford
accolades.
family is a really great family name in pro rodeo. His dad's hilarious. Bronk is hilarious.
I love that guy. I'm trying to steal his family, be honest with you.
Well,
because Haley is, I adore Haley and Tim and Bridwell Pro Rodeo. I do, I don't know, that's probably 50 to 60% of my rodeos.
Yeah.
Or Bridwell's rodeos. And that just, I just love, that's why I give him crap, because I feel like I can.
Yeah.
Like but they're so, like Haley can tell you stories and they've just done it from birth.
Yeah.
Where I didn't. I was in high school before I got on a bull.
Yeah. I've never got on a bull.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, I rode
I have
bulls. for a
no
while.
desire
Broncs.
to ride bulls. No.
I wanted to be a cowboy. Like my mom's an attorney. My stepdad, that I grew up with most with, is a Superior Court judge. Mm-hmm. They're not real proud of my choices in career.
Well, I grew up in a rodeo oriented family, not doing it for a living, but my dad was deep in rodeo.
Right.
I didn't necessarily I didn't want to be a cowboy.
No.
I wanted to be an actor or an athlete or a musician, something in the performance world. It just happened. Rodeo was the way
to get to it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I had a different mentality coming in, but it was funny. Speaking of Justin Rumford's dad, Bronk, when the NFR was in Texas during COVID, my daughter Shelby and I pop into Walmart in Arlington, the one right across from AT&T Stadium, and we're going. I come around the corner, and here's Bronk Rumford with a cart loading up snacks, and we talk to him, and he's laughing, and we walk away, and I said, "You think that's Justin Rumford's dad?" And Shelby was like, Holy shit. They're identical.
Oh my God. Bronk should have been a rodeo clown.
Oh my gosh. Great guys. Yeah. But anyway, so you're here in Billings, NILE. It is kind of, as we said, these used to be the last rodeos.
Yeah.
Now we have this, it's like the demilitarized zone or the no man's land between the 1st of October and the 1st of the year. And it's funny, I've always asked cowboys, do you enter these rodeos to not keep the rust off? Do you stay home and work out? Because a lot of the cowboys that made the NFR, with the exception of maybe some team ropers, aren't entering rodeos right now. They're healing up after a freaking hard
grueling season
year. Yeah. So that's a tough one. And rodeos like this, they've seen it in the number of entries,
Yeah.
So I think it's a tough place to be.
Our role becomes more important.
Good point.
I think as your contestant, not to say quality, because I don't want to
prestige, name recognition.
That's the best way to say it. Name recognition. If you don't have that, if you don't have the Sage Kimsey coming to enter the bull riding, or Kai Hamilton or Stetson or one of the guys, right? Then how do we jazz up for a kid that maybe just came from the NRA? Right. And just bought his card. And so I think that's where guys like Wayne Brooks can set the tone a little bit, but they're going to hopefully rely on the showmanship of the entire package, which I think the rodeo clown plays a huge role in.
Yeah, numbers too. Yeah. If you're in Billings and there's 3 bareback riders and 3 bull riders in a night, you gotta give people some entertainment value for the dollar of the ticket that they purchased, and that's always what we spend that for.
In a place like Billings, where they know, anywhere in Montana where they know rodeo, that I've noticed is a huge difference. I still do Belt, Montana.
Of course, first PRCA rodeo I ever did was Belt.
I love it. I love Belt, and so but the fans that come to Belt, you're going to get a few from Great Falls that may be coming with the family, and they're really into what I'm doing. But about 45% of them. Get the hell out of my way, clown. I'm trying to
watch I just want to see the bulldogging.
I just want to watch the calf.
Yeah, they're the Belt crowd. Belt's a great little town.
Oh, it is.
By the Belt Valley Golden Huskies by the way.
A little bit,
maroon and gold.
Yeah.
Maroon and gold. They're their school colors.
Husky Nation. I always thought that was weird. When I first pulled into town, I drove under that
Husky
bridge.
Nation.
Husky. I was like, "Is this a bunch of fat kids?" Or
Yeah.
like, what
Well, kind of.
We're
you know.
Huskies. We're very husky in this area.
But you're either a rancher, have a local business, a farmer, Air Force family from Great Falls, or
beer.
or a Hutterite. That's it. Yeah,
Nailed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mic
I know.
drop.
I know the area.
Thanks for having us, everybody.
Yeah, hey,
Just
everybody.
summed it up.
See you next time.
No, that's very true. But it's such a great, like, it used to have the rodeo, and then they had a softball tournament.
Yeah.
And that's where I saw Ryan Leaf again. Ryan and I went to college together. He played football and I rodeoed, but we both went to Washington State, same age, same deal, and we were on the same floor at Stevenson. And so I got to know him. I watched his football tape from high school numerous times, but then I hadn't seen him forever, and all of his, what he went on to do, and, fall from glory and all of that. But then I saw him in the softball tournament, the Belt Rodeo. I had him throw me a pass, and it was kind of a bittersweet moment because it was right in the he was not doing well.
Yeah.
And I brought attention to him. It'd be like when you're at the rodeo and I got the elephant in the room. There's no way I'm not talking about it.
Right.
Like if you're there, Flint, I'm talking about you. I'm pointing in the arena. I'm always that way. But I did that to him, and then they booed him. They booed him, and I thought,
yeah, I know. Aren't we great?
I was so mad at America. Like I was just mad that look, this is still a human being and a guy who was amazing because they all cheered him on the way up. They all applauded him. He was amazing. And then he makes some mistakes and he's on the way down. And it's the age old thing of patting you on the back on the way up and don't know you on the way down. And I don't like that.
I know. So I'm thinking as we record this, it's morning right now. I might come to the rodeo tonight. Or do you think they'll boo me?
No. Well, they will when I announce some of the things about
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Now I'm worried.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, my friend Flint's here.
I think you had a different exit from your sport.
I
think you did the tip of the hat.
I didn't flip off the crowd and walk out.
Oh, no, you did not do that.
Joe Baumgartner used to, in my opinion, the greatest protection bull fighter of all time.
Yeah.
That's just, and he used to tell me that he'd say, "Hey," and there was probably the F word in there somewhere.
I guarantee you 2 of them.
He said, "My last performance ever, because he wore baggies, the bullfighter. He said, I'm going to be naked under my baggies. F them." Joe, I'm not sure you want to do that. I might keep you out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And F who? Who are you really punishing with that?
It didn't matter. It was Joe. He
Joe.
F'd everybody. I mean, not.
I love him. I'll have him here in 2 weeks. I do the Indian National Finals.
Oh yeah, and he's at the South Point of the arena. He's kind of the boss. Yeah, I don't know if he's the boss, but he
is. Well, I mean, Stallworth is his boss,
right?
But Stallworth, of course, answers to Joe,
right?
But and I love that rodeo because the first time I ever got to work with Joe, and I only got to do it one rodeo. I only had one rodeo where I was the barrel man, and this is honest to God's truth. I'm not picking on you, but we
no, you're about to pick on me. Okay,
yeah. Bless his heart. Maybe that's the way you can cuss somebody and get away with it. But we're in Canby, and I'm running all over like I did for a long time in the bull ride, and I'd bounce in and out of the barrel. But mostly I'm working the dang crowd, and because I grew up with the Mike Corey and Tim Bridwell. They get back, get out of the way. Don't work that barrel. Just get it out of my way, and my bull's way. So I'm bouncing around whatever, and I get over to Joe, and at the end of the bull ride, and I said, "What? Hey man, you got any pointers for me?" And I thought he was going to say, "No man, you're doing good," or "No, you need to." He goes, "Hey, you're not Flint. Actually work the damn barrel. Would you get in it? Go play around all the other events, but get in the barrel, okay? And that's your one job there." And I was like, okay.
Well, it's kind of funny because especially when you've been gone a while. I remember a few years after I quit going to pro rodeos, the big thing was, look, Flint never had axe and never worked the barrel. I have a trailer with axe, props, piano. And
you did the Michael Jackson at my college rodeo. I still remember
that little
and you burned your head.
The dark,
the real
dark
dingy
arena. It was dingy.
Yeah, full of weirdos. But you put the glove on and then you burned your
Smoke,
head.
The wig. I had a
Yeah,
wig.
what was that? I didn't ever understand that. Why did you burn your head?
Oh,
Like you did this thing and then you came out and it was like your head was smoking.
Oh, it must
then
have
you
just
did this-
came from the smoke. I don't think I did it on purpose. Yeah,
Okay.
look what happened.
Yeah, God.
Guard it. But Joe and I used to talk about that, and he'd say, that's your style to be out and about. But he said, when we need you in that barrel, you got to be in the barrel. So that was the deal.
Yeah.
Make sure.
So he
and
loved
that
it.
was always my deal. Big arenas. Yeah. Like till, I went to Calgary up till 4 years ago. And
Yeah.
and I used to surprise the bullfighters and walk the barrel in. Come on, let's go. And
Let's
they're
go.
like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, there you go. See,
Hey, I work it. Tell them at the convention.
How is it that we were both teachers? People, do you know that still to this day? Do you ever quit? Do you ever miss teaching school? I'm like,
Not a day in my freaking life.
The last class that I taught at Havre High School in Montana just had their 30th reunion.
Oh, wow.
So that's like going, man, I sure miss that girlfriend from high school. No, I mean, it's, but how did we, there must be something. Butch Lemcooler was a teacher.
I know. Yeah.
Went back to teaching.
He did?
Yeah, I think when he kind of slowed down clowning, he went
be
back.
a buckle for that. Like maybe the
But,
three of us should come up with it.
Former teacher.
Going back, that's
back.
the amazing thing is that he went back.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he did. I'd have to spend as much time going back to college as I did originally.
Well, the problem with teaching, and I tried to keep my certificate current.
Really?
But the way teachers are, the way the education system is we almost punish teachers once they get in there. And what I mean by that is that I did my 15, I paid the class. I took 3 classes to get my 15 credits for a Washington continuing certificate to keep it up, right?
Good for you.
Because I always thought, well, and I've done that 3-4 times as I've been rodeoing full time. But I just thought, it's probably good to have, right? It's a backup plan.
Completely. Yeah.
Well, now the last one, I don't have it right now because one of these wasn't a STEM class. You had to take a special class. We're always moving the bar on teachers for what they have to do to even be current when we're pleading and begging for good ones.
Yeah.
So it's
and
like, look, man.
I think they're starting to adjust now.
Yeah.
I have one of my best friends, his son got a teaching and coaching job and had not student taught, but they're now with the shortage of teachers, they're allowing that first semester to count as student teaching.
Oh.
Which, good. That's
Great.
perfect.
Whatever can make it easier to get good ones. I don't think we're ever going to have a problem filling a teaching job. There's always going to be somebody that needs a job that thinks they can do it. The problem is good ones.
Yeah.
The good ones get driven out. I've never sat in your class and I've never talked to anybody really about it, but I guarantee you, write this down, guarantee you were a phenomenal teacher.
I was a good math teacher. I felt like I was a good math. I really enjoyed teaching algebra.
The subject matter is secondary to what makes a good teacher, in my opinion. Kids loved you. But kids wanted to be there. You made school fun for kids.
Here's what happened. Look at we're on edge. I like this conversation. Here's what happens in education. I look back now and say, I could be a way better teacher now.
Oh.
Because I've seen the world. Here I was, 24 years old, right out of college. What if you never do anything else besides teach? What you're teaching is what you see where, and I think they are adjusting things. There's cases of where a guy went and was an engineer for Boeing for 25 years, retired and wants to go teach math at a high school. He's been an engineer. No, you can't do that. You don't have such. And I think they're starting to fast track that now.
Yeah.
They should look in deeper to what you have to offer, not necessarily, I'll call them this, chicken shit education classes that I don't mean every one of them. You know what I mean, though.
I do. I do because I was in it. Yeah. There's so many classes that are just like...
Yeah, where you got a guy sitting there who's been in the engineering field. You don't think he has something to offer about how it applies and how to teach it. Anyway, it's a good discussion.
How you get your passion into another human being is probably where education classes about education can help you the most.
Exactly. I had some good ones.
Because there's being a Boeing engineer doesn't translate necessarily to a good teacher unless you have a way to instill that passion into other kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there's two sides to all of it. And I had some education classes, Western Montana College, that I completely remember.
Western Montana, where's that?
In Western Montana. It's now the
Is there a town?
It's now the University of Montana Western. Dillon.
Oh, Dylan. Okay.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Oh, Buck had a garage.
That's the cap
and
that keeps falling off the shelf.
Oh, I knocked it
No,
off.
yeah, you're good. But yeah, pull it up. Look.
Get the alumni out here.
Look. Montana Western.
Montana Western. Who doesn't know that?
Home of the Bulldogs.
Yeah. That's the SC.
I'm a distinguished alum.
Yeah.
And it was Western Montana College when I was there, but they've all.
Everybody wants to be a university now.
Well, they've affiliated with,
I went to WSU.
In Billings, MSU Billings, I still call it Eastern Montana College because that's what it was.
That's what it was at the time.
What
Right.
I said this earlier. I don't think all of us, but I think you and I think you're similar to me. I don't think every rodeo clown thinks this way. I think there's some, like in any profession, that go to work every day. There's not a deeper thought goes into it. They doing fine. Mm-hmm. But I think the ones that have been successful, I think when you walk through that gate or out that door or through the tunnel, whatever it is, I think I'm a looker. Like I would spend the first, like at a PBR, I'd spend the first 8, 9, 10 bulls, watch it. And I'd tell the announcers, don't come to me.
Yeah, let me get something established
hold
first.
on. Yeah. There's a bigger picture. Like there's a goal every time.
Yeah.
Goals for myself was I better be tired at the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
And I always say about you, I know JJ's tired. Whatever evaluation you do of him, he's tired at the end of the day.
He's sweaty.
But there's a goal there when you walk out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love, and it's changed a little bit because there's very few newspapers anymore, but reading the newspaper was money. That was the gold. There was so much comedy, local comedy there. Yeah. And before the Cowboy Channel was airing our stuff everywhere, it was all about local. That was the goal, was local.
It still should be.
And
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Now you sometimes will get kind of crucified for it. So you would get in the newspaper and you would find, I'll never forget, Sisters, Oregon had a new clean and jerk record. The guy that holds the national clean and jerk record at some age or something. And so I did a whole skit. I was going to break his record and, whatever. And because
it was local.
Because
it appealed to the people. Yeah.
He was there. He was at the rodeo. So they all start yelling. He's there. So then there's the act right there. It evolved right there in that moment. I came out with one idea and here he comes out and it became okay. And he cleaned a jerk. I became the jerk. And he had to lift me and do all the, and it was hysterical. It was relevant. It, made the local paper. But if I didn't look at the I think it's called the Nugget of a free plug. If the Nugget hadn't come across my radar, I would have never known that. I'd have missed that whole opportunity.
Yeah. I get people to this day. Okay, tell me one of your jokes. I used to, and I had some jokes. I
do comedy.
Back when I don't tell. Yeah. So you want to know my favorite local thing of all time? I was in Bismarck, North Dakota.
All right.
Chad Berger's PBR, and I'm reading the paper, and they had a rash of somebody stealing tailgates off pickups. And so they have this whole article. They're like, what do we do? They're stealing everybody's tailgate.
Yeah.
And the quote from a cop or
local
somebody
PD.
was, if you can't do it in under a minute, you're too slow. Yeah. And it just was in print, but that's how I pictured, if you can't steal a tailgate in a minute, you're too slow. So I start joking about this the first night. Look out. Hey, let me tell you something. And then we applied that. Well, you're going to go such and such. Just remember, if you can't do that in under a minute, you're too slow. Next day, somebody brings me an old tailgate.
Oh, you got one.
So it's right out the gate, and I just casually walked out, and I just walk out with the tailgate.
Packing it like a surfboard.
What? And they're like, what are you doing? What?
Did it in under a minute.
And you I'm the guy that's been stealing. Yeah. Oh, this? Oh, I didn't even. Oh, and so it only took me a minute.
That's right.
But what you're doing in those cases is all those people that feel like they're sitting in the crowd watching. You just brought them in. You just connected.
Yeah.
but you've pulled them in, and now they feel like you really do give a shit about their town.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, he really, look at that. He knows what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then the next year they had a guy jumping out of the bushes naked. He was jumping out at people, flashing. And so I brought that up and read the article. I'm like,
I'm not doing that.
not doing that.
Yeah, chicken.
Maybe you've caught my work.
What a wimp.
You
should have totally done
It was cold.
I was in the pool.
I was in the pool, Jerry.
So have you ever had it backfire? And I say that because I have the story to start, and then you should tell me yours, because I know you have. If you act like us, you will have this. They had I was in a little community, and they had put flags next to the crosswalks, and the idea was that the public would grab a flag and they would walk with the flag across the crosswalk for safety, and then put it in the other side, and then those would go back and forth.
In other words, they had really crappy drivers, and you needed to.
It was the dumb.
Do you know the community?
Yeah, very well. But
okay, tell the story, and then I'll. Okay.
Because I got in trouble. So the committee guys all bring me like 7 of these flags. They boosted from downtown. They're like, "Hey, this is the town joke." So I would use them, and during the bull ride, and I would say, "Hold, stop."
I would walk across the arena and put it.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah, you're with me. So I was doing that back and forth, and I would stop everybody, and I made a point to stop the rodeo. I'd walk across with the flag, put it on their side. And
it's
hysterical.
Classic.
It's funny, unless you're Mabel, who was on the committee to get those flags put down there. This lady wanted to press charges for theft. Even though I didn't take them, the committee guys brought them to me. This lady was so hot and mad at me for stealing the flag. They are a safety. It was like I was down there with a 79 El Camino trying to run over kids. Like, that's how she treated me.
And that was the week before.
Yeah. I mean, but I was just like.
Will used to have El Camino, by the way.
He did?
Aren't the El Caminos with the pickup?
Yeah.
Will used to have a maroon one. Anyway.
That fits.
Or a Ranchero. They were the same.
That's why he's my hero.
Yeah, and I can't think of
one where it backfired.
Okay, you got to tell me the town.
It was Sisters.
It was in Sisters, Oregon.
Sisters, Oregon. Yeah,
you know what's funny about,
because it's like enough people from Portland moved down for that gorgeous view.
Yeah, but you still have that core great folks. Oh. So you know it's funny that 2 of your stories have been Sisters, Oregon.
I've been. That's the rodeo I've been at the longest. 15 years.
So I did a podcast as I get questions. In the last couple of years, in my perfect situation, I think ultimately, which couldn't happen, but I always said, if I could pick 10 rodeos and go, I want those 10, and they'd say, okay, because a lot of people, even watching this, think that's kind of how it works, that they hire 3 months ahead of time. So if right now I say, I think I want to go to Reno. All right. That Reno's watching going, no, but it's not, because there's 3 years contract. It's a bigger business now. But I made my list of 10 rodeos.
You did,
and it always surprised people that Sisters is on that list.
It's
every time.
Phenomenal.
And I've been there for years, but I see them. One of my favorite rodeos of all time to work. For one, a lot of them are in the Northwest on that list. Yeah. I've been telling people, lately people have said, oh, well, you're probably used to Texas being in the rodeo. I did 1 rodeo in Texas, San Angelo, at the beginning of my career. It was a big boost for me. But the Northwest, Sisters, Oregon is an example of really the balance of what kind of rodeos we like to work. Yes, the stadium in Reno, the big grandstand in Calgary, the modern. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Ellensburg still feels like small town. Sisters is that in the pine trees, small town, but great production, right?
Yeah.
And
still
it's wild.
It is wild. The trees, the first year I went there, I watched a because I don't know if you did this, but when I go out into the party scene, I never want people to know who I am. Right. I don't want it to be JJ out there. So Buck Sprague is my alter ego, and there is a friend of mine named Buck Sprague, and for years I've used his name, and he's always like he's met people that have met him from all over, but it was actually me. But I went out into the woods, and see there's a lot
campfires. Out in the trees, you look out at
Well,
night.
and strobe, like in those days, it was a huge party. The Forest Service tried to like mellow it out and got too much police activity out there now, but it was nuts. They had a stage built up, a huge band playing, stuff going on, and I met the biggest human being I've ever met in my life. There was a huge fight with two big guys, broke into a fight at this deal that I was at, and this guy came up and grabbed both of them and lifted both of them, I'm not kidding, off their feet. And these were 6'2" guys, over 200 pounds apiece. And this guy hoisted them up and said, "You will not fight at my party," and threw them both back. And and I just went right up to him. "Hi, I'm JJ Harrison.
If shit goes down, you're my guy.
You're my guy."
Yeah.
Yeah. And he got the real name, and we were buddies for a long time. And this guy, and then he comes to rodeo every day. And so then I told the story in the arena. I brought him out. I had him hoist me up into the, but Sisters is just, for me, and Wayne loves to do this to me too. It's not that I don't love all of the rodeos in Oregon that I work. I do. I love them. But Sisters is the one. Glenn Miller, who passed away, was the one that took the chance on me.
Yeah.
He was the
Me
one.
too.
Remember, he had like 6 cigarettes at a time coming out of his mouth.
Right.
And all right, Harrison, we're going to give you a shot at this now.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
One of the funny stories there is I had a sponsor at the time, and I'm really good with partners. I've prided myself on that, and I was with Tim Chips at the time, and Tim's Chips sent me boxes.
I remember that.
Cases of chips. Well, how the hell you can't throw a little bag of chips very far? You can hand them out, but you can't throw them into the crowd. So I thought, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this box of chips. I'm gonna run over and I'm gonna get a representative from JJ's Chip Dispersal Company, whatever. And so I jump up on the fence. I look over and I see this little kid right there, and I said, "Hey, give these out." And I threw this box to this 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid. Well, the morons that come to, what do you think people did? They pile drived on top of this kid, and they're grabbing chips and free stuff and whatever. And I thought, oh my God, like I jumped the fence and was like, stop here. And I'm trying to get him out quick. Meanwhile, the parents are looking at me, not impressed.
Yeah, nice job.
And I get back behind the deal, and Miller's, he's waiting. And it's not even the end of the rodeo. It's just I had come out for a second to grab something, and he's right there at my barrel waiting. He goes, "Well, I guess we won't be doing that again."
And that, in other words,
"You're an idiot."
Yeah.
You're an idiot. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was the same rodeo where I have so many sister stories, but that's the same rodeo where they this is terrible. This is terrible. Okay. But they rolled my barrel up at the end of the rodeo. I walk around. I always do a perimeter. I call it going to the rail, because those people bought a ticket, and they might not get to talk to one other cowboy, but by God, they should get to talk to somebody. So I go to the rail and I visit and talk and sign everything, unless they have the autograph signings, I'll do that. But I like going and just visiting with people and letting them feel comfortable to come down and ask stupid questions or whatever that may be. So I'm doing this, and I'm signing things and talking to people, and I look back over my shoulder, and someone has rolled my barrel up next to the bucking chutes. Well, then fast forward about 5-10 minutes, I look over, and now there's all these people huddled around, kneeling, touching my barrel. There's a guy on the back of the chutes. It's like church or something. Something's going on. And I'm okay, whatever. And then everybody kind of stands up and moves away. And now at this point, I'm really curious. I'm watching it. And then this dude is throwing powder all over my barrel, all over in front of the chutes. All the people have backed away, but my barrel's still sitting there. Now, what's going on?
Was the powder cut in lines?
No.
Or was it?
No. It was a funeral. They were dispersing.
No.
No shit. They were dispersing Grandpa, and
They were spreading his ashes and used your barrel as the pulpit.
as a prop. As a prop. So now now here's the terrible part. So I walk back over, and then they broke a whiskey bottle in his honor or something. Of course, this back Frank Beard was still there.
Yeah. And
of course, Frank's on the fight now because these horses and bulls are going to buck in that. It might be glass. So Frank at 117 years old is going to whip everybody's butt, and it really, Charlotte would have been the fighter in the team.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But so and all this commotion, and all I'm thinking is my barrel, So I go get it, and Grandpa is all over it and in it, like it is full of powder. It is full of stuff, God dang it, like the stuff he's in there. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm new. This is like the first or second year, like 2007 or 8. this would have been like in the first years I was ever there. So I don't know the proper protocol in removing
to clean ashes of a human remains off your barrel.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, part of grandpa is in the Madras, Oregon car wash.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it. Like the next day I had to work the barrel and I didn't do anything with it. He was in there with me. And like
you could feel him.
I get hit and powder would I'm not joking. This is serious. I'm not kidding. This happened. And so then I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm not a weirdo. You know, I don't feel like he's a part of me now, but I do have some extra inner strength. And that's probably where it comes from, because this guy must have been a fighter. But
maybe I've blocked out great story. That's the most unique.
Dude, I was so new. I didn't. Now I would have run over there because I'm very protective of my barrel now. I don't even let kids play in it,
right?
Because I'm tired of little kids get in it, and the drunk dad puts their kids in and out 7 times. It gets full of dirt, and I work the dang barrel.
Yeah,
like I'm in there trying to protect. So when I get hit, all the dirt immediately goes right in my eyes. And I can't see.
Grandpa.
Yeah,
ashes. You know, they spread him there. They probably raked it in, and then when a barrel racer slipped on third, way to go! Slipped on third. Thanks,
Gene.
Thanks, Herb.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Grandpa.
Yeah,
slipped in the ash and slipped on his femur.
And then
that's terrible.
Every now and then they'll have a Ziploc, because this is how that sisters committee worked for years. They would duct tape a little baggie of ashes. Please
to your barrel every year.
Please distribute.
Yeah. Hey, well, point is, the sisters is there's I think that people assume because of a rodeo they hear about all the time that's the most fun one to work. Like when I came out with my top 10 and sisters, nobody even knows where it is. We know where it is.
I know where it is.
On my top 10 list, Logan knows this. Calgary was like an honorable, because somebody said, wait, you forgot Calgary. No, one of the greatest spectacles of all time.
Yeah.
But and had wonder, I was there 20 years total. Yeah. Even it was the one rodeo I did.
Yep.
Because there was a PBR affiliation. But as far as really, I mean, a spectacle and experience to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But in the arena, this is fun to work. I have a connection with the crowd. No, it wasn't in my top 10.
Yeah.
You know, but places like that, you know, I wish I could. I don't remember all 10, but I can tell you Ellensburg, Pendleton.
Yeah. I only got to do Pendleton one time. I loved Pendleton my year there, 2013. I just worked the finals. I got the rodeo, and I thought, man, I'm going to be here a long time because I ran it. I ran from corner to corner, and I'm a football guy, and it's on a football field, and contestants were high on me. I felt like the committee was high on me. Everything was great. And then I got canned the next year, and to this day, I've never understood.
You know what? There was a time, because remember, I used to go back.
Yeah, you did
the PBR Monday, Tuesday, and they rotate. They still kind of rotate a lot. So
really? Rump was there.
Yeah, Rump was there a few years.
Like 6. Enough to where you got established, and that's the way I prefer to do it. Yeah, I prefer to have a rodeo for 12 years.
I think there's some that I liked, like Pendleton. I could go
every year
there. Yeah, and I was there 8 years, which was and then I, stopped. Yeah. But a lot of Ellensburg.
PBR.
Yeah, I
know what it is. You didn't stop.
Well, I stopped.
You
going
got a phone call. You were told you couldn't go.
No, actually. You know that my contract with the PBR never had a anti-rodeo. I put that in the contract.
You did that.
Like it wasn't PBR going, you're going to come here and you can't go. What I did was
but you don't want to
I put in the contract that any event I worked had to be a PBR sanctioned event. And I'll tell you why. No decision to make. That's right. Like if Pendleton called, well, I'm going to go to Pendleton. Well, why can't you come here?
Yeah.
What if you go there? Why can't you come here? Like
California
why the couple months we used to have that summer break? Why can't you go to Reno, St. Paul? it made the decision. That was the deal.
Yeah.
And I helped do that. Just so I said.
But then you did a good job of spreading the rumor that the PBR doesn't let you go. Because then people didn't hate you for it.
And
people should have hated you for it. Are we getting this?
My contract.
Down?
What happened?
You didn't want to go to your rodeo.
Yeah. But you see what you know.
No, I would probably do the same thing. Mine and sisters in Ellensburg. I would probably say and this isn't, the PBR doesn't want me, and I get that, and that's okay.
Actually, we need to talk.
No, we don't. And you gave an interview, and I thought, well, there went my chance right there. And I didn't call you or tell you about this, but I heard you, because I like following your stuff, man. And it's not to try to copy or be like you, but it was, you said, I hope they go out and find somebody that does their own thing, not somebody that just fills the uniform. You remember saying that?
Huh? I've said that forever.
Okay, so
about every place.
I felt like, dude, in my career, so much of me has been people thinking I'm just putting on the Flint uniform. I dressed like you in the early phases,
right,
which wasn't. I only saw you one time before I became a rodeo clown. You know that, for God's honest truth, I saw you one time at the college rodeo
in Walla Walla,
and you put a thing on your hand.
Yeah,
and I remember I rode bulls. I tried to ride a bronc, and I team rope and tied down roped in that college rodeo. And I remember looking up because we never care what the clown's doing.
Yeah, you were competing,
right? And even
that was early in my career.
It didn't matter, dude. It was captivating. You had all of us, and to this day, and Austin, Lopeman's love to poke me about it, but Austin will throw some Michael Jackson at me.
Yeah.
And I'm not bad at doing some Michael Jackson dancing, but I won't do it. I won't do it because it was your thing.
And I've seen where people think that's funny to hit you with, and I don't think it's. Yeah,
but I just thought, it gives me a chance to pay a little homage to the Golden Road, man.
The old statement is, I've heard about you, is where they'll say, boy, he's watched way too many of your videos, and I always say, no, he doesn't. No, that we're just kind of similar really in our takes and our style. Yeah, but
I wonder if I was the older guy, if it would have been me, and you would be sitting in this chair right now going,
what makes you think I'm older than? How old are you?
I just turned 48.
48? I was close.
You were close.
No, I was close to what I'd guess. I just never asked you.
Yeah.
55.
So I'm 48 with a hip replacement and a 3-year-old. That's the best joke I got, man. Like, I started over. Like you and I.
Your 3-year-old is cute.
Oh my gosh.
She's funny.
Yeah. And we were talking offset about JB's kid Jagger.
Yeah.
And in Kennewick, they were running together. And I wish JB and Sam hadn't cut Jagger's hair, because you couldn't have told them apart.
They're the same, yeah.
They had the bouncing blonde hair, and they're both just little squirrels, and they're so funny. And I'm gonna miss JB rodeo and still. We were talking about off the I don't know if we want to get into JB.
Real quick. I mean, not real quick, but I can say through my entire career, he is the most. For one, he was polarizing for a long time. Yeah. PBR fans loved him or hated him.
Yeah.
But then he gradually became, as he got older, the guy everybody knew. In my career, looking back on rodeo and the history of rodeo, the most, I hate even the word recognizable, trademarky BAM of all time.
Monster logo. That's
in the PBR. Oh yeah, we wouldn't even say his name. We just play the song. We'd pause, go
either
quiet.
John Payne or JB Mooney are coming out.
Yeah, JB has both arms.
Yeah,
so
he's a 2-arm bandit.
But whatever you do with JB gets attention.
Yeah. See, and I come at it from a less knowledgeable perspective, because I don't have a deep history with JB at all.
Right.
I know his wife and kid.
Yeah.
Because my wife and Sam are friends.
Yeah.
And so I would get, so he was big. He's bigger than me. I mean, he just is. And I accept that fully. And he would never say that, but I know, I wouldn't force him to have a conversation with me, but I loved, his family would come and hang out with mine. And then he would jet set off and go, fly and go ride a bull in Puyallup or somewhere else, and, doing the bull riding thing. And so I got to know Sam and Jagger.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I'm going to miss that. That's the one thing with rodeo that I think when I tip my hat that I'm going to miss is that camaraderie, because when you go home, you got no friends.
Yeah, it's funny. I was joking before you got here. I went a day and a half this week where I never interacted with somebody in person. Yeah. And I think people don't. I get a lot of, why would you hang at 1 a.m. with me? You have all these people around. And I mean, in the personal life, it really affects it.
Yeah.
Like in the not married anymore. Well, why would you ever, you wouldn't want to go out with me anyway. All these women around. I'm like, look at them all.
Yeah.
The JB thing, people have made him this superhero, this indestructible role model of, and I don't think JB likes to hear any of that.
No, he didn't. Yeah, I don't think he cares.
He's a guy. If I told you that, if I grabbed my phone right now and called him, he'd probably answer.
Yeah.
And I do it for the sake of entertainment here, but you can't get his ass off the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey man, hey, I was with Sam and I went to town I'm like, dude, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Hey, yay! You're JB Mooney. Yay! I gotta go. Like,
I could call and he'd be like, Washington number.
What the hell? Anyway,
no. What? Okay, here's something.
I was gonna tell you before we started.
Yeah.
You can ask me things too.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
Did you ever have, like one of the biggest compliments I got was from Hollywood, and I see
Yates, Hollywood Don Yates,
Hollywood, my
not
man.
Hollywood Harris.
No,
that's Brinson's dad.
Yeah,
but Hollywood Yates,
Hollywood Yates, the gladiator, the wolf. JJ. He just put this. This was a month ago. He put a deal on. I don't run my social media. My wife does, but she sent it a screenshot of it. And it made me, I called him. And I was like, dude, I just want you to know, man, I appreciate that so much. He put a deal out, and it was a picture of me and him. And he said, his compliment was, this is J.J. Harrison. And excellence breeds excellence or something like that. He had some quote from, Confucius or whatever, But then it was like, this guy will always promote me whenever I'm around. He pulls me into the arena. He is never afraid. I've watched him do it, and I don't know if he mentioned you or what, but I thought that's a great compliment for me that I'm not ever. I don't know. Do you
as far as recognizing colleagues of yours that have been,
because he's a barrel man and a good one.
And I actually. Since we're stroking each other, one of the things I've always said to people is that JJ has no jealousy, anything. You told me from day one, hey, people say I do a lot of things like you. I'm not copying you, but I admire what you do.
Yeah.
And you do it publicly.
Yes.
Like the rodeo in Billings, Ellensburg, Washington. Yeah. And I've always said you are very good about that. And what that does, though, that earns you more respect. That diffuses anything that people might think. Yeah. Justin Rumford here on this show put it a good way. People think there's a clown fight club.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we're all fighting each other. Listen, I'm not in a group. I'm not nothing. But if I run into you guys, we're great.
Yeah.
Hey, we're the group of rodeo clowns. And I use the term rodeo clown a lot because I didn't say, I'm not a clown, I'm an entertainer. It was in the PBR. We didn't know what to call me because it's not a rodeo. Right. But rodeo clowns. Some are turds, some are awesome. Just like everybody else. But we don't have this big, we kind of try to help each other out. Hey, I can't go to this rodeo, but if you'd like, they're looking. Or I don't do that a lot, but I get along, like the good ones I get along with.
I say that's exactly what, that's how you say it. The ones that, because there was a long, I got a phone call saying, hey man, we're not going to be mean to you anymore. And I was like, awesome. Thanks. And another one, he actually sat down with me and like, I do if I don't get the rodeo, I'll be at the Orleans again doing the watch party and the stage show and all that. And man, I reached right out to this cat because he's a great singer, funny guy, good dude. And I called and wanted him to perform, and he did. And he did a fantastic job. Then hung out, and we mic'd him for the whole narration. He's become one of my pals. But there was a long time where he hated me. He hated me, and he explained it all to me. And he's the reason I don't wear my NFR buckle. And I'm not ready to wear it even after we've become pals, because it didn't feel like I deserved it that year. It felt like the way they came at me when I got it.
Who is it?
Robbie Hodges.
Hodges?
I love you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. But Hodges is a good heart. He's a good-hearted dude.
He's a great heart. But he had to come around to me, and so now, I text him more than any other rodeo clown now. And he genuinely hated me. And I think he built me into something like a nemesis. He built me into something.
Yeah, right? He added image
that I wasn't. And he was, and then there's enough drama and people claiming I did things I didn't. And, I didn't have that deep-rooted rodeo connection. So here I'm the new guy when I came out, and I'm getting a lot of things. And then...
Yeah. Well, I understand. I get it. But I know you don't wear your NFR buckle. There's one on the wall right there, too. I don't wear that one. I don't wear that one.
Because you have freaking 7 others to pick from.
Yeah, 7
Jackwagon.
Yeah.
Remember when the year I had the finals and I did your outside the barrel, and you said, hey, what buckle you wearing? I got 8 of them. And I stood up and I went, you have 8 Badlands Circuit final buckles?
I did that to Keith Isley, who I think is underrated, one of the all-time great, pure, old-school, talented rodeo clowns.
Yeah.
Keith Isley.
The voice, the delivery.
And his makeup's good, and the baggies, and he trains animals. He used to be a trick rider.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just a classic, great rodeo clown, great guy, Keith Isley. And I don't think I don't think that name comes up enough.
I call him every year to work our circuit finals. I'm the director for our Columbia River.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
What are you going to pay? What are you going to pay?
What are you going to pay?
Not enough.
But
I think so.
I had him on my show, and he had just won Clown of the Year, and I did that. Clown of the Year, great. Thanks, Flint. I have 8 of them. It's a running joke.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so as long as we're doing this, J.J. Harrison, what buckle are you wearing today?
So this is the NILE buckle. And when a rodeo presents one to me, I try to wear them at their rodeos and around their communities. This one was special because Justin was still here as the general manager. And so he gave me this, and he gave this little statement when he gave me this buckle. He said, when we hired you for the rodeo, you said to us that we probably should do a multi-year deal. And all of us kind of thought, well, that's kind of a cocky little thing to say. And they walked off, and they hired me, and he presented this to me on my, I think, 10th year that I was here, or 9th or something. And, and I've done 12. I think this is 13 at the NILE. So I was right. Yeah. But it meant a lot to me. And it's also a Montana silversmith, which I take a ton of pride in.
And you know what? That's a great story, because every buckle has a story.
Every buckle has a story. That's right.
Good.
That's that one.
Perfect. That's good. That'll be, I loved it. And it's true. You can tell, I've said this a lot, you could lay out, I won't keep you all day. I know you got commitments. The one thing, by the way, for everybody watching, the one thing J.J. Harrison is probably better at than any rodeo entertainer specialty act is public relations, appearances, going with fans. You have a lunch with fans today, correct?
Yeah, Rib and Chop House. They did a online game or something. But that's one of the things right there that I would love to be able to sit in a room of my peers and help counsel them on sponsorship. Because I'm the NASCAR of rodeo, man. I feel like I get it. This is what I do, and I have a passion, and I put my heart and soul, which I hate when people say that, because this is my job.
Right.
I can be phenomenal at my job and care about my job at the same time, but have a business sense as well. This needs to make me money. Yeah. This is how I make a living. So, and rodeos can only afford to pay so much. So you can only push on them each year to get a salary bump. So you need those sponsors. You need endorsements. And
that's the word. Do you know what I tell them? It's not a sponsor. You're endorsing a product.
Yeah. It's a partnership.
It's not a patch. You're endorsing a product. Look at,
right.
we have a Pendleton whiskey sign because I endorse that product.
Dang right. You keep them.
Yeah,
in business.
it's something I get a lot of calls. How do you get sponsors? Be good.
Be good,
you know,
and then put together a deck sheet. You know, a good cowboy that could probably do a better job doing the clinic than me is Casey Jones, and Rodeo Vegas. And,
right.
And
what a great success he's been. Yeah,
phenomenal, and he's a great cowboy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I think at the end of his tenure in life, he's going to be remembered for more of the extra outside of the rodeo stuff.
Right.
People, you know, like, did he make the NFR? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times. But they know him from
Yeah.
Rodeo Vegas and all the things that he'd been able to do. And he's just really smart with that. And so
there's a story out there. A young cowboy came to Ty Murray, said, "Hey man, how do you get sponsors?" And he said, "When?" The guy said, "Right now." He said, "No, not when. Win." Win. But you know, your buckle, and then I'll let you go. You could lay out your buckles like we could go to wherever they all are or whatever. Yeah. You can tell when we say every buckle has a story, it's a great catch phrase from Montana silversmiths, but you can lay out buckles and tell the story. I remember when I was here, and then I got this one for here. I did it was the DNs at the Dodge National Circuit Finals at Holt Arena. I think I did 4. They were all in Pocatello.
Okay. I have 6, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, but I did the one where they got, I did the ones where they got crowds.
Logan, did you hear that? Can we make sure we capitalize on that statement? I got him.
Yeah, but they had crowds when Holt Arena. I kicked a field goal.
I
kicked a field goal in Holt Arena.
If we're going on people in the seats, all right, maybe you got me. No,
but you can tell your story.
I loved it. I loved it in Kissimmee. I felt like it didn't get the right. I mean, I'll tell you, that committee, that group.
I'm sure.
Steve Knowles worked his ass off to make that rodeo amazing, and Beth and that whole team down there, they were dealt a losing hand. They were dealt
tough
a
situation.
Losing hand.
Yeah.
And they made amazing. I mean, we had some good crowds, some good performances while I was there, and that was, you know, when I was doing that rodeo for those years, that was my NFR. You know, I wasn't even really trying to get the NFR because I was doing the MGM Grand stuff, and I had there was a point in my career when I was rolling in Vegas with my stuff, and I was like, I got the hottest after party in Vegas. I don't need NFR. Like this is, I'll just do this. And then COVID and everything dried up, and the MGM fluttered away with different marketing, and it was like, oh man,
yeah,
I need to work the road.
I can say that every single thing I've done in my career, there's nothing like rolling your barrel out in the arena.
And I need to do it one more time.
Yeah, I know.
I need to.
And you're working hard. You're one of the busier guys in our business, and yeah,
I'm booked every dang weekend, but that doesn't translate. And that's the weird thing about the voting system now.
Yeah, let me tell you something though. Do not judge your career on the back of one rodeo.
I won't. But it's still really nice to have.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What
do you got? 8 of them? Yeah. Shut up. Together.
Never took it for granted. Never one day did I assume I would get the NFR. Never one day.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I found out in 1998. Yeah. I was in my dad's. Was he in the real estate or insurance office at the time? Anyway, right. And I got it. I don't think it was. We didn't cell phone. Nobody was texting a lot. Right. And I got word, and I said, I just got the NFR, and he said, let's go. And we walked out of his office and took a right and walked west in Choteau, Montana, on the corner, the Legion Bar. And we walked in, he said, Flint just got the NFR. And you know what some lady said? Oh, do they still have that in Bozeman? And he said, not the CNFR, Vegas, CNFR. And we had whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had whiskey. So
I was here.
I was here in Village. Of course.
I was at the NILE, and I got a phone call in the production meeting. And I grinned. I was like, when they said, you know, JJ, you were selected to work the national finals, and I went, who is this?
Mom.
Like, I'm not even kidding.
Mom,
like, yeah, Mom, stop doing that to me. Yeah. And she goes, no, I'm serious. And I was like, bullshit. And she goes, JJ, you got the NFR in 2012. You will be the NFR barrel man. And my heart just, and I said, then I got real professional. Okay, well, thank you for the call.
I appreciate the call. I'll be looking forward to more communication.
closed my flip phone, turned around, and I had this grin, and I looked right at Jill Loden, Franzen Loden, and Wayne Brooks. And Jill was the first one to speak to me, and she goes, "You got it, didn't you?" And I was like, and I couldn't say it. Yeah. And then Wayne goes, "Welcome to the Big Buckle Club." And
hey, I got an idea. Are you ready to do the NFR? Say yeah.
Wayne Brooks, that's him. That was spot on. But no, and I just remember. So, that was a special thing. And then the marketing picture I used for years was a picture that a photographer from the Billings Gazette. Is that what it is here? I think Billings Gazette. Yeah. He took a picture of me, and it's on my old trailer still. And it was, I was so happy. It was literally like 10 minutes after I found out that I had it. So the joy on my face, and I wanted again really bad. And I know that once, like you said, winning one Super Bowl is amazing. Getting to work the NFR one time is amazing. But it's for me where I was at when I got it, and where the aftermath. I'm not going to wear that. But I'll give it to my kid.
I understand.
But I'm going to drive until my body falls apart to get it back. I want it one more time.
Until you got to replace the other hip.
The other hip, yeah. I broke my knee this year too in Wolf Point, Montana.
Oh, no, what? Wolf Point,
yeah.
Wild Horse Stampede.
Love it. Yeah, I went up there and I broke it packing the barrel, and I thought that I got hit. We had a kid get knocked out, and I packed the thing in, and the bull hit me a little too early, and my legs are out the bottom, and it rolled over my leg and fractured my tibial plateau, and I didn't stop rodeo. I just wore the brace, right? That's what you do. Buck up, little camper. But those are the moments that you hope people see or hear about, that, hey, this guy's, because I'm doing that for two reasons. Number one, save a cowboy.
Sure. Yeah.
Number two, that's the ticket back to the Thomas and Mack, because that's the only job you do there.
That's it. Yeah, people don't understand.
Yeah, you don't get the mic. I mean, they gave you a mic one time, right?
A couple of years.
Was that majestic? Like, what was that like? Like, I bet you
I had a good
18,000 people just.
Yeah, but I didn't get to. It was just on just in case in the bull riding there was a slow spot, and I had a really good relationship with Sean Davis, the boss.
Yeah,
it was a case of trust. Yeah, he really trusted. To this day, I just saw Sean, and we visited. To this day, it's a real tight, good connection, and it worked. So I used it a couple times. He gave me. It was always I'll tell you when you can get out of your barrel and talk. And by the last 2 years, he said, we've learned to trust you here. And you make the call during the bull ride, and you know when to step out and when not to. And I sat there, and if there was a re-ride, so it was surreal. Looking back now, it was a bigger deal than what it seemed like at the time. So
no, that's a huge tip of the hat, and I don't expect to get a mic.
Who cares?
If I get to go back, but at the same time, there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts with it, and I know everybody that is worth any salt in our business wants the NFR.
Sure.
Which makes it extremely competitive, and there's the voting process and the who are you calling and not calling, and I literally call no one.
I never in my life. I can tell you if you want a tip.
Yeah.
The calls you're making are what you're doing in the arena. I never called anybody.
Yeah. But then when you do when you're like, you called everybody. You're like, no, really,
I never,
really
never
didn't.
One time did I buy somebody a beer. Hey, don't forget to vote. Nothing. Yeah.
When you do get it back, you want to beat the best.
Right. Exactly.
I don't want John Harrison to have a year off, and I get it. I wouldn't want that.
Do you want me to take him out?
Nope.
John?
Nope.
I'm joking.
Listen,
John's been on here.
Got hit on by Tanya Harding. Speaking of that, true story.
You did?
Guess where?
Tanya Harding?
Tanya Harding hit on me, and guess where?
Where?
What have we been talking about?
Sisters,
Oregon. I'm not kidding. Okay, we have to. This quick story. I was at the bar downtown, and they're like a little media thing or whatever, and she was there. It was after my first divorce, and she came up and asked me what I was doing.
You can tell me the rest of it off camera.
Yeah, no, that's where it ended.
I did
anyway. I got
there was nothing like a double toe loop. I'll tell you,
triple sow cow. Get it right, Jesus. But no, sisters. They all have a lot of fun stuff there. Thanks for having me, though.
Listen, thanks. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. This is fun.
Yeah.
We visit, but not like this. And so
We don't get to.
I hope everybody
Hopefully
kind of
covered all
takes
your
something. Yeah, all my notes are covered. Hopefully everybody takes something out of it.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thanks, buddy.
Good luck the rest of the way. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
pal.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.